Well, hello everyone and welcome to the Nissan Ariya, and we are in a pretty highly spec'd Nissan Ariya as well. This is the Platinum Plus. So we essentially have all of the nice features. We have cooled seats on this one, heated seats, multi-zone, climate control, all this really cool interior materials and stuff. Before we go head out on a drive and our impressions of this week, let's go take a quick tour of the exterior for you guys who have not watched my full tour and review video. So this particular Ariya actually is a two-tone paint. So we have a black roof with a blue body on this Ariya, and it is a pretty gorgeous looking vehicle. In terms of the design, it's very futuristic shaped. We have that glowing Nissan badge, that V-shaped front end, and importantly on this particular model we do actually have the smaller 19-inch wheel option. So on the Platinum trims of the Ariya you can get this or the larger 20-inch wheel. This is the one you're going to want to get. It has those aero covers on it, which is going to help to improve aero efficiency, but it's also going to help improve the ride, and the ride on the Ariya is fantastic. We have our charge port door right up here, and again, pretty cool shape design. We have a light bar up out back. I think it's a nice looking electric SUV, and honestly the interior is a really fantastic place to be, and it really surprised me from Nissan. Lots of luxury features. We have convenience access on all four doors, folding mirrors. We have a light bar underneath the car that illuminates at night. Really cool stuff in here. These seats, we have Nissan's zero gravity seats over here. This kind of blue material with this really nice materials in this cabin. We also happen to have this cool ambient lighting in this interior that's kind of mimicked by, or supposed to mimic, I think lanterns, Japanese lanterns. Really cool design touches in here. This is a next step of an interior from Nissan for sure. The next generation of their stuff that we're definitely going to be seeing in a lot of future products. And this particular Ariya, we have a lot of fun things going on. I'm purposely driving this at a low percentage. I want to see if it still offers all of that performance at a lower battery percentage. So what are we dealing with in here? Well, we have this shifter here. It's illuminated with ambient lighting. We can pop it into drive, reverse, neutral. We have 360-degree view cameras around us, as well as parking assistance as well, which I wouldn't say works very well. Makes a strange noise when turning on and off. You can kind of change your direction you're going in. Not my favorite system. It does park itself and has been successful, just there are better ones on the market. You also have your drive mode selector and this integrated like haptic wood panel here, so you can press these buttons here. So we have sport, standard, eco, and snow. We'll get to that in the driving impressions, as well as our eStep function, which is our sort of quasi one pedal drive. Well, again, I'll get to that in the driving impressions. And that's about it. We have a configurable dash. We have gorgeous displays here, all these haptic wood paneling buttons here. We have this hidden center console storage here, which is really cool. Wireless charger, all the nice stuff in here, and everything feels really nice. Seats are super comfortable, lots of support and adjustment. They're ventilated and heated. And let's head off and I'll stop talking here. We also have a quick access to our camera button. We'll see how long they stay on before they turn off. And we are off in the Nissan Ariya. Turned off around 7 miles an hour. Now the Nissan Ariya, at least this particular one, has around, I believe, an 87 kilowatt hour battery pack, or at least 87 kilowatts usable. And we have dual motor all-wheel drive on this particular model. And this one has a cool system. Like Nissan calls it E-Force, E4 CE, funny name, but what it does is not only distribute that power front and rear, but also side to side. It can kind of torque vector, so that's a really cool thing. You can kind of see it on this graph here they put in this gauge cluster, which is pretty nice. You can definitely feel it when you're kind of stepping on it, and you can feel it distributing the power around a corner to keep you planted, though primarily it is going to be using that front motor more. Now we're going to do a quick acceleration in sport mode. Sport mode is the only mode that has a sort of augmented sound, which I'll let you hear right now. A little bit of a spooky sound there from the Ariya in sport mode. It almost sounds like something from the Jetsons, or a spaceship going through space. It's really interesting with sound. Very subtle, and it kind of cascades around you, but that's the only drive mode that has a sound to it, actually, or fake sound, and it's very subtle, so I actually quite like that. So how is the Ariya like to drive? Well, first impressions that I've noticed this week is the ride on this vehicle is fantastic. I think that might be one of the Ariya's like main impression points right there when you're driving it. This has to be one of the smoothest, comfortable riding electric vehicles I have been in. The suspension soaks up everything on the road, and Nissan clearly has put in some insane amounts of sound deadening material in this cabin, because for this class of EV, it is incredibly quiet. I just cannot get over how good this suspension setup is on the Ariya. It's really, really good at soaking up bumps, canceling their sounds out, just muting everything. Very, very well tuned for the suspension setup here. Now, I also have to say the steering for the Ariya is pretty good. It's very digital, but it's very direct. I really don't have any complaints there either. Now, there is 0 ounces of athleticism or sportiness in the Ariya. These are just all, it's a very good, compliant, comfortable electric vehicle, though there's not even a dash, I would say, of sportiness tuned into this chassis. It's comfortable and compliant, but there's a lot of body roll. The steering is not sharp, quick, or precise, even though it has good good feel and feedback. It doesn't have those sporty qualities to it whatsoever. So if you want that in an EV, you're gonna have to look away from the Ariya, because there's just none of that here. But that does not mean it's not a good vehicle. It's just a normal vehicle. So on those aspects, they did a really fantastic job. Now, it does not mean the Ariya is perfect in every way. I do have to say the seating position in the Ariya is just way too high. I know they are kind of going for this SUV style driving experience, but it's just too high. I'm sitting in the lowest position right now in the Ariya, and I know you can get lower, because I can see there's still space from where the bottom of the seat is, but the motors just won't allow you. And that also happens on my armrest here. I just have to put my arm so low in the Ariya. It's a little bit funky. They need to fix that, I think, if they're gonna make any adjustments going in the future in terms of seating position. The next odd thing about the Ariya, unfortunately, is the brake pedal. And this is an issue on the Mercedes electric vehicles as well, where it's not necessarily an issue, it's more of a design choice. I guess how Nissan and as well as Mercedes chose to use their Regen braking systems, but the brake pedal moves, not while you're touching it, only when you're in this eStep mode here. And it's really hard to kind of show on camera, but the brake pedal is a blended brake pedal. And what that means is there's Regen, brake, friction brake on that same pedal. So it's blending those two together, and I've been in a lot of EVs where that blending nature is really fantastic, to the point where you never even notice it. This one, I've been driving it for a week now, I still honestly cannot get used to it. It's just so funky. As you can kind of see here, it's Regen. Now we're on the friction brakes. But the brakes themselves don't feel super strong, and honestly not very confidence inspiring, and that Regen isn't as aggressive, I think, as it should be. And there's no settings in here to really adjust the Regen levels. What you could do is, let's say you're in a drive mode, you can pop this into B, which is the more blended braking drive style, where the Regen is always going to be on regardless of the drive mode in the background. Well guys, here's the perfect chance to demonstrate Nissan's Propilot Assist 2.0 here in traffic, and it works on this particular stretch of highway. All you do is press the button here, activate it, and you're going to see it's going to turn blue. Hopefully. Sometimes it won't even activate at lower speeds. It's green now, and it's blue. Okay, so now we're in the hands-free driving version of the Nissan's adaptive cruise system. Again, really good system. As you can see here, it's fully steering itself as long as I look forward. If I look away for even like a few seconds or something, it's going to beep at me and say look forward. There we go, look forward. There we go. So it starts warning you, keep you safe. And it's not recommending a lane change now, but the lane change is always ready to be activated, and it works really well and pretty flawlessly as well. So, and it's very good at watching other vehicles. I've been in some other vehicles that have this full kind of almost semi self-driving system, and it's not very safe, I'd like to say. And sometimes the lane change will actually only work at higher speeds, and it will require you to look and make sure you're checking the traffic. So it's a very safe system. Again, I always say these lane change systems in a lot of vehicles that have these kind of full self-driving or assisted full self-driving style systems are a little bit more of a gimmick. Same thing kind of applies here. It's pretty much every one of those systems are like that, but this one works pretty confidently and very well, and it's a good levels of alertness of when it's going to do it. It's going to tell you why it's doing it. So I like that there's a lot of feedback between the system and the driver, and that's the whole point of it. It's an assistance system. You're kind of working together and not just having the car fully drive itself without any actual help. And that really sums it up with Ariya. Again, it's a comfortable, pretty well sound insulated electric SUV. It has a lot of room inside, really cool style. If you get them at a pretty good price point, I think it's definitely something you should consider right now. I really like this interior. This is probably Nissan's best interior I have ever seen them make. Even honestly, other than this new QX80 that's come out of Infiniti, I think this might even be better than most of like the Infiniti interiors that are out right now. So really good stuff in here. And as always, stay tuned for more coming on Allcarnews. Cheers.